What's up, everybody? It's Corey, host of the Grease Pole Podcast, and the Tears have been on a tremendous fucking hiatus. It has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that personal life's been a little jam-packed and busy. Also has nothing to do with the fact that we've been sick as fuck, and it has everything to do with the fact that I just realistically didn't want to put together a tier list for our first fucking loss of the year. Okay, so I put this off, and in the process, backlog happened, so we're here to chip away at the backlog of the performance tiers because we're like, I don't know, a fucking month behind. So, yay. Go Grease Pole. Anyway, if you want to know how the following tiers came to be, click the link you will see above, and that will take you to the introduction video of the performance tiers and how we got here. It's been a while since I've done this, so there's a lot of fucking cobwebs, okay? Also, by the way, on brand, watch Terrifier 2 if you haven't yet. Greatest horror movie of all time. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to the performance tiers for Week 10. Even though, actually, this is Week 9, I think. Fuck. I don't even know. The first loss of the year to the Command Skins. I don't even want to do this, so let's just jump into it with the Dawkins tier. And this guy ended up, he's made several regular appearances in the Dawkins tier. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And he picked off Taylor Heineke in this game deep in Eagles territory early in the fourth quarter to give the Birds momentum before it ultimately swung back in Washington's favor after a certain play that we're going to get to. And, you know, at this point, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson sitting at 6 interceptions on the year, and he had one in the last 5 games previous to this. And for as much as I love the A.J. Brown trade, for as much as everybody loves it, and for as much love as that trade gets, the move to acquire Gardner-Johnson from the Saints has been the equivalent of the A.J. Brown trade on the defensive side of the ball. He's been a fucking catalyst for this defense so far, which is why he's become a mainstay in the Dawkins tier. So is Javon Hargrave, and he had 13 tackles from the defensive tackle spot and a sack as well to bring his tally to 7 so far on the season. And he had 6 sacks in his last 3 games leading up to this point, and in the absence of Jordan Davis, you know, he was crucial for the interior of the defensive line, which earns him a spot in the Dawkins tier yet again and has helped keep him here for several weeks, or for multiple times, rather. So big shout out to Hargrave as well. Chris Long tier. And this is kind of a wonky one here, but Jordan Davis. And look, I get he's on IR, and he's been out, you know, for multiple games at this point and would continue to be out. But I was wrong to knock this pick, okay? Javon Hargrave's been hot, obviously, but aside from that, the interior of the D-line relatively looked like shit up to this point. Washington gained over 150 yards on the ground, and we've seen this. Look at the Houston game where Dameon Pierce ran the ball down the Eagles' fucking throats. And that's why Howie went out and signed, you know, Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh. He got sick of seeing this shit, and so are we, right? So by virtue of the past few games and what we've seen from the run defense, Jordan Davis shows up in the Chris Long tier here despite not even playing a fucking snap in this game against Washington. Nelson Aguilar tier. The turnover ratio in this game. And they were -2 with four turnovers after being on the plus side in all 8 previous games. So to finish in the red zone in 9 games, you know, finish the red zone once in 9 games isn't terrible. That was never going to happen, you know, all 17 games anyway. You're not going to finish in the fucking green every single game, but it was how and when they happened that made it exponentially suck even worse. The Dallas Goedert fumble, the Quez Watkins fumble, right? You thought at these 2 moments that momentum was finally swinging back in the Birds' favor, only to have the rug pulled out from underneath of you. And it fucking sucked, and you've come to expect more from this Eagles team, and that's why the turnover ratio shows up here in the Aguilar tier. The Chip Kelly tier. The cheeks of the cheeks. Third down defense, right? And this has been a huge factor in the Birds' success all season. It was a disaster on Monday night. Washington converted 12 of 21 third downs, with defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon often caught just with his dick in his hand. He rarely blitzed Taylor Heineke. You saw the corners play off coverage way too often, and the defense just couldn't keep the Commanders' offense off the field. Washington ran 51 plays in the first half, and the Birds ran 47 in the entire game. What the fuck? That tells you all you need to know right there, right? Their strategy was to shorten the game, Washington's strategy, and keep Jalen Hurts and Eagles offense on the sideline, and that's exactly what happened. And you saw it come to fruition, hence the one in the loss column after this one. And then the elephant in the room, also in the cheeks of the cheeks, Chip Kelly tier, the Dallas Goedert injury. And look, man, I really don't want to do the blame the ref shit. I really don't. But the most unfortunate aspect of this is that the play ultimately, this was the turning point of the game. And you can talk about the Brandon Graham roughing the passer call, but this is where everything changed. And yes, it does feel karmically shitty that we weren't rewarded 15 little yards in return for losing, an all-pro level tight end for several weeks. But hey, this feels more like the Eagles fandom we know and love. And you can't, as the player said, Brandon Graham, Sirianni, it's football 101, player 101, coaching 101. You cannot put yourself in a situation where the refs can decide the game. And that's what happened here. And that's why the Birds come away with the loss, or at least one reason why. And so here we are. You still lead the NFC East, but it shrunk to 1 game over the Giants, 2 over the Cowboys, with their grip on the 1 seed. Now, at this time, was tied with Minnesota at 8-1, but you do own the tiebreaker by virtue of handing the Vikings their only loss of the season, at least to that point. Following game is going to be against Indianapolis at Lucas Oil Stadium, and we will drop that performance tier video coming soon at you as we continue to catch up on all things performance tiers. We've been slacking a little bit, but we're about to get right and get back on track. We'll see you for the Colts performance tier video. Stay tuned and come back if you like the content. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you. As always, go Birds.